I'm sorry, that's Beth's spot.
Do we know the downstairs doors open?
I'm into my fire, Shane. I don't know.
Public hearing on all of them. I believe it is. No, on the second readings of all of our ordinances. I believe it is. We have none. Listed.
What's that?
Look on the desk, what?
Will be advertised. Will be advertised before the meeting.
It's loud, isn't it? This is the lady.
Who called me?
Diane, are we ready? Would everyone please stand for a pledge of allegiance and remain standing for an invocation?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, as we gather this evening, we thank you for this wonderful town we live in, the fine people that live in it. This council thanks you for the privilege of serving this community, and we ask for your strength, courage, and wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. I'm going to call to order the May 18th meeting of the May 18th, 2021 meeting of the Mooresville Town Council. Welcome, everyone. Gentlemen have had a chance to read the minutes from our previous meeting. I need a motion to either amend or approve the minutes as written.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from May the 4th, 2021, normal session.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Our unfinished business. We had the Endeavor quotes. Do you have a representative here from Endeavor? We do. Would you come on out? I think I saw Steve Ellsroth here somewhere. Would you come on up also? We may go ahead and tag team, if you guys don't mind, and hit the Barracuda while we're doing this. This was the presentation that was made 2 meetings ago on items that some of our departments felt like were important, needed, or possibly just a want. Shane, you and Jeff had said you wanted to talk to Steve. I don't know Did you find out any more?
I've got my questions answered, yes.
Yep, so did I.
And are you pro or con?
Well, why don't we have, is it okay if we take these one at a time?
Yes, please.
So maybe we'll have the presenter just go through these one at a time, one quote at a time.
Sure, absolutely. Let's see. Let's go through the access points first. For a total dollar amount of $56,29.76.
Okay, so you're talking about the Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Okay, explain what that is and...
Yep. Four different access points, or four different.
If we do the hearing impaired devices,
Are either one of those on?
how about those devices you bought?
They're on.
You may have to pull it closer or put it on the podium itself.
We'll go closer.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Four different access points, or four different locations: the fire admin,
Devices that can be used.
the court, clerk's office, and fire station. And these are access points throughout each of those locations, which will further distribute your current network, your current internet service. So this is for the wiring and installation of those services in the four locations.
Okay, so now, Steve, would you mind saying why you think we need these?
Luke and I discussed this at a meeting with some department heads about 6 to 8 weeks ago. And what this is replacing equipment that's past end of life and was originally scheduled to be replaced by the town when they did the police department. These are older devices. They do not have the bandwidth or the throughput that the devices we have at the police department. Some at the town hall have. There's a couple locations that have older devices. So in other words, these are actually throttled at a given speed, download speed and upload speed, which results in poor delivery of video, audio services, and download speeds for all the equipment that you have, both laptops, cell phones, etc. This gives you full access to the capability at the speeds that are being provided to the town by Endeavor on the fiber.
And did you tell me something about these being upgradable?
Yes, the equipment that's they bid here, after we discussed it, was the Ubiquity equipment, which is an industry standard. And firmware can be upgraded on that, software can be upgraded to tend to potential security flaws or et cetera. And they have anywhere from 3 to 5 year life for upgrading. And what we have now is some older switching devices and some older off-the-shelf commercial MiFi devices. I think the example of Diane, she was having trouble at home with her streaming video service, and it was because her Wi-Fi wouldn't carry the amount of signal at the speed necessary. This brings everything that we have in the town up to the same speed and eliminates that problem.
Okay.
Questions for either Luke or Steve? We're going to tackle this one at a time. Do I have a motion on this one?
This updates the fire department as well,
Yes.
fire headquarters, I mean,
Yeah, fire headquarters, the town court, and the fire station out on 144, and I think it also updates an older device here. I think most of these were originally put in pre-2014, when we had the old Wi-Fi devices and services. And again, they're off-the-shelf products, they're not commercial.
What kind of life cycle is this?
Pardon?
What kind of life cycle would this have?
Luke, you want to answer that?
Yeah, Dennis, what have you typically seen on Ubiquity in the past?
5 years.
5 years is the estimate.
So we'd be looking at this again another 5 years then, okay. Is that basically about what we got out of this? What we've got now?
You'd have to answer that
The
one.
equipment that you have that this is replacing was, I believe, was installed by hand by the late Joe Bikeman back in 2013 or 2014. So these were version 1 devices, not the current high-speed devices we have now, the 3.0 gig speeds. They were most, I think, about 10 to 25 megabits a second. These are a little over, well, the download speeds I've had from the ones at the police department, which these are identical to, is over 280 megabits a second. So substantial increase.
I would make a motion to approve the Wi-Fi purchase from Endeavor.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Shane Gregg, 5-0. Which one you want to do next, Luke?
Let's go to the, they look a lot alike, so let me see the difference between the two. One that's got more purchased equipment on it at the bottom for a purchased equipment total of $2,384. This would be, I'm double checking here. I apologize. Let's go to the other quote first that says the Algo has a, in parentheses, call box at the bottom for $644.14. This would be for the call box at the fire station to mimic the exact setup that's at the police station. When you walk into the lobby, you press the button on the call box to communicate with someone behind the lot facility.
Hey, that goes straight to the comm center. As the one at the PD goes straight to the comm center. The proposal on the one at the fire department would bring both the fire department and the comm center.
I will say that I've gone into the fire department before to drop off sharps for my wife, and no one was in the fire department, so it was a little bit unnerving. They were out on a fire, but there was no one there. You know, I was just standing there alone in the building with no one to answer the phone, so I thought it was a little odd. But this is also a safety thing, I think, too, because we advertise those places as a safe space. If somebody's in trouble, they've got nobody to, if there's a fire, you know, there's got nobody to contact to help them. So this one makes sense to me from that standpoint as well.
That in the form of a motion?
If there's no other discussion, I'll make a motion to approve the call box at the fire station for $644.14.
And then that is a monthly fee.
Yeah, of $24.99. Yep.
I think if you buy 11 months, you get the 12 month free. I think there's a rewards program. Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, third quote that's mentioned here is for panic buttons. And locations of those would be here in council chambers, a relocation of the panic button in the clerk's office, and then also a panic button down at the street department. So 2 new panic buttons, and one of those is a relocation. So this would be the equipment and labor and wiring for the installation of those services. And then at the top, you'll see there are two new phone seats for that. So a total monthly recurring revenue of $49.98 and purchased equipment of $23.84.98. And in the event that one of those panic buttons would be pressed, Steve, those I believe go to the comm center as well.
Yes, they all of them, and go to the comm center and indicate what location, what floor, and which desk that the panic button has been pushed on. And then we respond from there.
And we don't have the technology to tie that all in one line.
No, the type of system you're on, each individual piece is one seat, is what it's defined as, one seat profile.
And this is, I know you said down at the street department, but this is actually the Public Works Department,
Yes.
the office here.
That was my question.
okay.
Okay. I was looking for Dave, so.
Do we have a lot of threats at our street department garage?
My apologies.
I
Yes.
think it's just all inter-department.
Yeah, yeah.
What about our town court? Do we still have a button at our town court, emergency button at the court?
At the court?
Yes, you do.
Yes,
We do.
Four, right?
Okay.
they have four.
Okay. That's all the questions I had. I had a question about the street garage as well, but that answered it.
Who gets the panic button up here?
Up where?
Here, I mean, how high are we gonna put it? I know how this works with fire alarms. Do I have a motion on this?
Motion to accept the bid for $2,384.98 with a monthly recurring lease total of $49.98.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Gentlemen, we have a couple of options on this. We have CCI, or we have CCD to pay this out of. There is $100,000 of other town equipment that we usually use for this. Is that an acceptable use for the equipment only? The monthly recurring, we'll have to find that out of the utilities budgets. Is that acceptable?
Fine with me, yes.
Motion?
Motion to approve?
Motion for CCD?
Yes.
Motion been made, do I have a second? Second. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
While you were up here, trying to move things along as quickly as possible, the SHI, can you kind of elaborate on this, since you're here?
Okay, that is an annual renewal for our software and hardware on the Barracuda backup system. That the hardware itself has a full replacement, 24/7, 365 response. I think it's called Energize there, is scanning and threat software, and there was one other, and I can't tell you off the top of my head, but all three of them are required to operate our current Barracuda backup system. This is separate from the threat scanning, storage, et cetera, that has already been paid by the town, and there's 2 years left on that contract.
What was it that was broke, that we couldn't get to work, that they had to take back to Santa's workshop and fix?
That was actually the old Windows server that carried the Windows Software Exchange, Active Directory, et cetera, that was the one they tried to recover data from. That unit was not backed up on the Barracuda, to the best of my knowledge. So this is what's this backup just continues us for 1 year, puts us all on the same renewal cycle. This software was, when the equipment was originally purchased 4 years ago through the prior company, it was included in this was included in the cost of that purchase and install.
So we're just to the end of that.
We're just at the end of that period, like you've got to renew your antivirus once a year, et cetera, or whatever. This is exactly what we're doing here. This is a 12-month term that puts them all together. There was additional, we could have gone 3 years, we could have gone 4, we could have gone 5. The price was very, very close. Upon renewal, since we've had the equipment 4 years, it'll be completely replaced at no cost by Barracuda. They'll replace it because it's older hardware, older firmware, and
For this price.
yes, sir.
This backs up the entire town, or most of it.
That's the software that funnels everything into and out of the cloud storage. This email scanning, all of that comes through that. And there's also the replacement. I believe it listed as IR, instant replacement on there. And at the end of, I've already spoken to the regional tech for Barracuda, and they advised that as soon as we can confirm this, they'll get a schedule to replace all the hardware and firmware.
They come out and do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's all included in what's there.
Comments or questions? Motion approved, deny, or table?
I'd make a motion to approve this in the amount of $27,1692. This is the Barracuda contract.
Is Steve Oshman here? I kind of talked around him. Okay, but I just saw that his name was on here. Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Shane, Jeff, 5-0. Thank you, sorry to get you out of order there.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Next item on the agenda, B, Rezone East Hadley Road. I didn't even know this was going to be on the agenda, did you guys?
Thank you, gentlemen and lady. Ross Holloway, Holloway Engineering here tonight to hopefully get approval of the council for a rezone for Hadley Road from PUD residential to R1C. I have a handout. Most of you are probably familiar with it, but still a couple trees.
I just got that, sorry.
You how are you?
Thanks, Ross.
This dirt has been wore out for 20 years in and out of the Plan Commission, and I think it's time that we finally move forward. I think all of you know where it's at. So Jessup Farm on Hadley Road, south side of it, just south of Carrington Estates, immediately east of Grandview. Give you a few facts and figures here. I won't go into a lot of detail, but I think all of you are aware, given the articles recently in the press and on the television, that Indiana is, particularly central Indiana, Morgan County specifically, is in dire need of housing, and housing shortage is critical. The fiscal impact, just some numbers for you, that the 196 homes, just by coincidence, is what we're proposing for this property. The layout that in fact was brought to the Plan Commission has been currently approved as part of the PUD is the layout that we propose with no changes. unless it's required, something for a traffic study would require something, but for right now, that is it. 12,000 square foot lots, 40-foot front setbacks, sanitary and sewer and water for all the homes, open spaces, detention basins, and all those things that are required by the town and the town ordinances for stormwater and various other infrastructure. The next page just shows you that for Morgan County, for the next basically 20 years, from 2018 to 38, there's an annual deficit, if I can say that, of 81 homes or units. A total was 196, and they assume that there will be some built, but without additional developments, there would be 81 units. Doesn't sound like much, but when you can't find a home and the costs are skyrocketing, it's a big number. Next two pages are just some of the median price of homes in the neighborhood and the areas. You can say Grand Oaks, which is what this development would be named, is $225,000 to $350,000, and I won't go through the numbers, but I'll pick a couple there. Grandview immediately and joining to the west, the median price is $212,000 to $220,000. Our proposed median price, the low end, is $5,000 more than the high end of Grandview. Carrington Estates adjoining and immediately to the north. You can see that they're $155,000 to $160,000, and we're $75,000 practically above that. Past the green sheet, this development comes to you tonight with commitments by the owners and the developers, and I've included those commitments and that we have incorporated in the zoning ordinance, should you approve it tonight, and we hope you do. Commitment number 1 talks about the facades will be constructed in substantial compliance with the photographs, and if you go the third sheet and fourth sheet, you will see some photographs that these are representations, not of models that would necessarily be specifically built, even though some of them very well might be, but they show you what the aesthetics would look like. So in addition to those, well, let me go on. So talk about what the materials would be. We also, in commitment number 2, talk about roof pitch, 612, 12-inch eave overhangs, 1,500 square foot minimum living area, exclusive porches, garages, basements, things like that. Each dwelling shall have a 2-car attached garage with interior dimensions of 20 by 24. Conversion of the garage to living space is prohibited. That's taken place in a lot of communities over years because the home wasn't large enough. Each dwelling shall have a concrete driveway not less than 20 feet in width. The homes must have a landscaping package. And commitment number 3 was specifically to address concerns of the neighbors to the east and south, and it specifically lays out mounding, landscaping, things to buffer above and beyond what is in the ordinance for those areas. Also tonight, in addition to the commitments, we are willing to go forward with covenants and restrictions that would contain the following. These covenants and restrictions would be brought before the Plan Commission at the same time as the plating, and I've highlighted those. One is each dwelling shall have a minimum of 3-foot high band of masonry on the facade, and in addition to maintaining the compliance with the exhibits. And the minimum square footage for 80% of the homes would be 1,650 square feet or larger. Only 20% would be the minimum of 1,500 square feet. And as reference, Grandview, the minimum is 1,300 square feet, and 20% of those homes were to be 1,650 square feet. So we've sort of flipped that. So 80% of these homes would be 1,650 square feet. Only 20%, 1,500 in Grandview. It was 1,300 square foot minimum with only 20% being 1,650 square feet. So this is a substantial step up from that. Also, as part of this is we put a condition in there that not only can enforcement of the covenants and restrictions be by obviously the developer, the association, but also the Mooresville Plan Commission. Further, the covenants and restrictions cannot be changed or altered without the approval of the Mooresville Plan Commission. We hope these changes and covenants and restrictions that would be brought to the Plan Commission would satisfy any concerns you might have. I think that this is not starter homes by any means, but they are needed in this community. So if that, I would answer any questions the council might have. We do have the ordinance ready tonight. We worked with the Plan Commission's attorney, Beth Copeland, to make sure the language and the commitments were as was presented to the Plan Commission.
So you have not dropped any of the Planning Commission's commitments?
That is correct.
You've added?
We've added a couple
Stronger commitments.
part of the covenants and restrictions. And let me give you a little background on that. We've been basically working on this project for this time around for almost a year, 9 to 10 months anyway. We worked with the Plan Commission back and forth all through the fall of last year, trying to get to some kind of agreement. That did not come to pass. We just hit loggerheads. And that was through a PUD process, amending the existing PUD. So since that didn't work out, we went back to R1C, 12,000 square foot lots. We would be presenting the same layout, but in order to sort of get us up to that PUD level, we included the commitments that we presented tonight. However, state statute requires that if we were to have altered those commitments that were presented to the Plan Commission, we would have to go back to the Plan Commission for approval, or at least let them hear those. Well, we've been back and forth and on this thing for 10 months, so we thought the covenants and restrictions would go to the Plan Commission. They are enforceable by the Plan Commission. And obviously, since we're making this public tonight, it would be in the minutes of the council. Should we not include those, it won't go anywhere. And I would fully expect that to be the case. However, we're committed to doing that. And this would get us basically off the dime and ready to move forward with a plat to present to the Plan Commission, hopefully next month, but we might have to do some legwork as far as dusting off the traffic study and looking at some drainage and some things like that.
Do you have any actual renderings that you could include in this?
I can get you a rendering. I don't have it with me tonight, but you mean of the homes or the lot layout or what?
Homes.
No, because I'll tell you what, never mind, Shane got some. I mean, Sean.
Don't insult him like that.
Yeah. You've got to remember though, and this is why this is dangerous, is what we've included in the ordinance are things substantial compliance, which means that when we hand those out and somebody walks out there, a council member probably says, well, this is not what you presented to the council or the Plan Commission. It's different. That's got a different gable on it. It's got something different. So that's why those are examples. And what we told the Plan Commission was, when you walk down the street, if you see those photographs and you see something that's completely different, you know it. It doesn't take a genius to say, well, that doesn't look like what you presented.
Yeah, I'm already going.
And if you look at the photographs we've included, and you'll see that 3 of the 4 have a band of brick on them. So the 4th one does not, but there you go.
I'm not going to vandalize this.
Ross, while this is not the public hearing is technically the Planning Commission meeting, I do want to give anyone in the public an opportunity, and I will save my questions for you until after that.
Absolutely. It's fine with me.
We had a sign-up sheet over here, and I don't know for sure who's for what. I guess if you had something to say, for or against, doesn't matter, and you had signed up, approach the podium at this time. Anyone, not everyone at once.
I'm Bill Rose, and my wife and I live on Hadley Road, right across the road from where they're going to build these houses. And when we see this traffic that we have out there now, it's bumper to bumper going both ways every day, morning and night, and it's terrible. And you're going to add 400 more cars. I don't know where you're going to put them. It's going to get terrible. And also, he says they're going to make the front of the homes look beautiful. Well, that's good. But if you drive down Landersdale at Western Road and look back south, those homes are just vinyl boxes, because you're seeing the backs and the sides of them. You don't see the fronts when you drive down the road. And it's just vinyl boxes, and that's all we're going to see out on Hadley Road. I mean, it's changing our lives. So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this subdivision? Come on up.
Good evening. My name is Eileen Mathers, residing at 4917 East Neitzel Road. My husband, Jim Mathers, and myself are the sole south border property owners adjacent to this Jessup farm field. We have owned this property 25 years and have established a hardwood tree farm that is enrolled in the classified forest program with the state. As 48-year residents, business owners, and interested citizens of Mooresville who will be directly affected by this development, we would like to ask the town council to match quality housing requirements, just as Mooresville improved the quality of the gateway entries to our community. We have attended numerous meetings on this property over the years, and in 2006, we were comfortable with the Money home development that passed. It offered a high caliber, 1,800 minimum square foot home that Mooresville needed, but the recession hit and the economy faltered. Since 2006, Mooresville has definitely provided a glut of vinyl entry homes, currently lacking a wider, diverse, upscale housing option. The Indianapolis Star, Monday, September 25th, 2021, speaks to this issue. In Noblesville, planners realized the city wasn't offering the type of housing that would attract and keep upper income home buyers and retirees that many suburbs covet. These house hunters wanted more choices, townhomes, villas, over 55 communities. The city determined that 94% of all housing was either single-family detached homes or apartments and that there was a missing middle of housing, and Mooresville seems to fall into this category. For the last several planning commission meetings, we have heard from the petitioner that slab homes are better than they used to be, and that there is no market for brick, fiber cement, or hardy plank exteriors. And vinyl is the only exterior that sells in Mooresville. The picture given last Plan Commission meeting is of a whole subdivision of vinyl exterior homes. Mooresville and adjacent areas are loaded with this type of housing. I would venture there are thousands already. It is time Mooresville demands a diversity of upgraded housing as all communities surrounding us have. If you never request updates on the housing requirements, it will remain the same, an entry starter home mentality. We as Mooresville community have spent millions of our tax dollars improving the gateways to town. These upgrades have been done to enhance the passerby's impression of Mooresville, as well as to keep up with surrounding communities. These tax dollar upgrades are also relying on all the positive options in Mooresville that interest house hunters. We, the average citizen and taxpayer, hope the council members have a vision for continuing and improving Mooresville by demanding high-quality housing, and to this we say, build it better. They will come. Thank you.
Anyone else? I have a Robert Hall. I have a, or is it in regards to the Hadley Road? No. Okay, well then, hold up just a little bit. Anyone else here in regard to Hadley? Come on.
Yeah, hi. My name is Jeffrey Turley, 4833 Hadley Road, Mooresville. At the beginning of the onset of this proposed project, we talked with our neighbors and all property owners and all residents of Mooresville that had concerns, and with that, we obtained this protest petition. So I'm obligated, I believe, to hand you this petition today. It's a copy for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else on the Hadley Road?
Mike Young, 5028 East Landersdale Road, Mooresville. Council members, I think Ms. Mathers has put it very well. A brief history of this project: it started in 2006. The Planning Commission wants a development here. We want an upscale development with a variety of homes, something that has a vision. Currently, there is a PUD that's enforceable there now that has covenants and restrictions. What the petitioner wants to do is they want to eliminate most of the covenants and restrictions that were on that PUD. Instead of crop spaces, they want to build with slabs. They want to eliminate the roof pitch from 812 to 612, the overhang from 18 inches to 12 inches. Tonight, they're showing you some vinyl. That was not presented to the Planning Commission. There was no vinyl, there was no brick required. So I have objections to the renderings they're proposing tonight because those weren't presented at the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission was willing to accept all LP board or masonry board, which is hardy plank, and eliminate the brick requirement that was on them in 2006. We were told that there was about a $4,000 penalty to go from vinyl to hardy plank on that home. That accounts for 2% of the purchase price of that house. I think that a homeowner would want to spend 2% to have a home that would have a better resale value. The taxes on that home will be from $1,000 to $1,200 a year, which 200 homes at $1,000 a year equates to $200,000 in revenue from property tax. It costs $10,000 a year to send a student to school in this system. 200 homes. I think the average is about 1.5 children per home, but let's make it easy. Just say one. Okay, 200 homes at $10,000 a year, that's $2 million to send those children to school. A shortfall of $1,800,000. We have tried to listen to the public, and the public said that they want homes here, but they want quality homes. Number 3 on the covenants and restrictions that has been presented tonight, the 1,500 or 1,650 square foot and the different brick requirements, that was not offered to us in the Planning Commission, as the renderings were not presented to us. That is not acceptable. They've changed some things that they're presenting to you. The Planning Commission wants a subdivision here. We want a quality subdivision. We have listened to the public. You have heard the public speak. Please take that into consideration. Andrew Jackson once said, "One man with courage makes a majority." One man with courage makes a majority. Thank you. Well, one other thing. I have here from 2006, the Mooresville Times. The front page shows the development that was approved. It tells about how the town council voted against the project in this area. No, voted for the project, stated that he wanted a high-quality development for the town. He praised Mahoney Homes for creating a quality development. This is a good project, something the town of Mooresville will be proud of. I'll pass that around, but I like that back. Thank you.
Anyone else here on that Hadley Road project? Or against? Ross, I do have a few questions. I put my head down when he started talking about that because I think it says that I said that was a great project in 2006. We had a rezone request prior to that one, and it looked like you took Grandview and turned it over. It was a mirrored image, and the council at that time said we want something better. And I've said it before. Those that knew Tilly Jessup, Tilly poked me in the chest and said, "What am I supposed to do with my ground?" And at that time, and still to this day, the family's name is on one of the premier subdivisions in northern Morgan County. And we asked for something a step up. And that's when Mahoney came in and said, we're going to do this. 2008 happened, and we had a couple. The subdivision over Eastmore, Villages of Eastmore. I mean, we were going in a different direction. We were upgrading, and then this happened. I was called asked if I knew anything about that PUD, and I did. I was impressed. I think there was 18-inch overhangs, and it was ungodly, the commitments that were made at that time. I don't know what's changed, because at that time, obviously, they thought that they could make this fly. Same number of homes, just a little bit of an upgrade. The Mahonies, or the company that came in, they're gone. They're not here to do it. The families that are offering to do it now are good, hard-working people. I have no qualms with that whatsoever. Whatever they do, they put their best into it. But I'm struggling with, how do we go from, one company said they can make it, now homes are going for more than what they were. And I'm gonna throw you under the bus a little bit. In July of last year, you were telling us that houses on the north side of the county line were going to be worth $250,000 to $400,000. You were going to be able to put 22 homes on 36 acres. I think those were zoning commitments that Hendricks County held you to, standards that they held you to, because you made the comment that they would match what Stanley Cove was. And what you've done with Stanley Cove is amazing. It's fantastic. But I don't know why Mooresville doesn't merit that same attention, because you've done a great job there. And that's my question. Why aren't we shooting for that?
Yeah, go ahead. Then I'll address another.
I appreciate that, and like I said, I know your work. I know the two families. You're outstanding pillars in the community. The families are, and that's why I'm asking why this project, as it stands, not something a step up.
We'll speak specifically to Stanley Cove.
Mm-hmm.
They were $300,000 and $400,000 homes. 20 houses took me 4 years to complete, to build and sell. So it wasn't an issue that we can't build those. There just isn't a demand for that style of home anywhere right now. 200 of them. So that's the problem. We'd love to build them. We'd build them all day long if there was a demand for them. So that's when it took 4 years to build and sell 20 homes over there.
But you seem to think that you could do 36 homes north of the county line. Your words.
Yeah, and I was prepared to do that, and it would take me 3 or 4 years to do that in that price range.
And is it just the time frame on 200 homes that's holding us back on this one?
40 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that
exactly
the time frame?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And to go along with that, to answer the question about the elderly looking for homes and nicer homes, we developed Lakeside Commons, which is an elderly subdivision. It's geared toward that. It's not necessarily that. We have some younger people. 149 units, 142 units. We started in 2003. I've still got another probably 7, 8 years to go. I've got 40 more lots to go in there. Since 2003, for the retired people, probably 98% of them are retired elderly people. And they're all brick on crawl spaces. You mentioned Village of Eastman. They started approximately at the same time. They're not even half finished for the quality of homes that we're talking about. So this development that we're doing, the prices have all gone up. The vinyl siding has gotten a lot better than what they were back even in 2003. It's come up with different products that stay, that are not so susceptible to the hail that they used to be. They're good quality homes. They're on slabs. Everything's the same other than the slab and the crawl space. Those will sell for a pie behind Lakeside Commons they had, how many lots did you have in there? 32 lots. In a matter of 18 months, they were gone, sold out. These are the same quality, or you might say maybe a step up, I don't know.
Now we're gonna start fighting.
I mean, well, he's sitting right there, so I'm not going down. He did a nice quality job. It's a good, nice looking subdivision. It enhanced us on the north side of our subdivision. So that's where we're coming into play. The demographics just aren't there for this area right now. Those of us that we build custom homes, we have maybe 7 custom homes throughout Morgan County, most of them around the Mooresville area this year. And that's a big year for us on custom homes of 350,000 and up. That's a good year for us. 7 of them. You're talking 189 homes here. You do the math, how long that would take. And as a developer, if somebody wants to give us the money to sit on them for that long, we'll do it all day long.
And that gets back to your question, what's changed? Number one, it's 15 years later. The market has dramatically changed. In 08, financing was easy. I mean, a dead man could get financed for 125% of the house. The other thing that has changed, demographics. People are spending more time in their homes, not outside their homes like they used to be. Used to be the cookouts, used to be the family gatherings in the backyards. Now it's around the TV and the game center and inside. Also, people along that same line said, well, I can get more inside and I don't have to waste my time mowing grass and worrying about the outside. That gets to the hardy plank and all that. Hardy plank is a good material. Still got to be painted. It's got to be painted just like wood. So there's a maintenance cost there, and the $4,000 difference was for the minimum size home. So now we step up, we get 2,000-3,000 square foot homes, 2 stories. All of a sudden, that's like $7,000 or $8,000 additional cost, plus the maintenance of painting over 30 years, which nobody wants to do. I certainly don't. So that's changed. A lot of things have changed. The market has changed. And to that point, if that was sellable to anybody, that development would have been developed in the past 15 years. Certainly was on the market. It certainly was already platted. Somebody could have come in and said, well, I can make this work. No takers. The only takers you had were people that wanted to do what my clients want to do. They had to change some things. I think what we've done is a pretty good compromise. We've still got what I would call quality homes. It's not like some of the homes in Heartland Crossing where you do have the salt boxes where there's no eaves. You got a gutter hanging right on the edge of the roof. You've got 2 stories of vinyl with nothing breaking it up. You got the very cheapest vinyl. We've got the next to the highest grade vinyl you can buy as part of one of our commitments. Plus, a lot of them are plain Jane, no porches, no nothing to them. We've also committed that they'd have not only a 2-car garage, a real 2-car garage, 20 by 24. We've done a lot of things to make this not starter homes, like one of the people commented. They're not starter homes starting at $225,000. They are a step up. I would venture to say they're a step up from Grandview, certainly a step up from Carrington. But there's nothing unique about this 80 acres. It's a flat field, no trees, next to 2 subdivisions that are iconic middle-class America, which is nothing wrong with that. In fact, I would venture to say that's exactly what Mooresville needs more of right now. We don't need $500,000 homes. We need people that can afford a home, can live in a home, and work someplace in Mooresville. Now, it might take 2 incomes, might be a school teacher, might be a fireman, but at least they can afford it and they can stay in Mooresville. If it's $500,000, they're not going to be able to afford it. Period. End of story. The Redevelopment Commission and this council has spent millions of dollars over the last several years, and some of it to a lot of criticism to beautify and improve this town. Well, it doesn't matter if you don't have industry and factories and people that can work here and live here, because the trickle-down effect of those dollars is significant. not only from a property tax standpoint, but income taxes, because Morgan County is an income tax county, not property taxes. Goes back to Mr. Young's comment about the schools. Property taxes do not support our schools, the state of Indiana does. And they reimburse the schools predominantly based upon attendance. Well, if you don't have students, you don't have attendance, and you don't get reimbursed by the state. It is significant, and that's where the majority of their financing comes from, not property taxes. So I think Mr. Dellinger would tell you, and anybody that comes in and knows anything about economic development, I think most of you do, they would say when an employer comes to town, particularly if it's an industrial employer with a lot of people, say, where are my people going to live? Are they educated? And they don't want them to live 30 miles away where they're going to have to drive through a snowstorm and maybe be late to work. They want to live in the community, and we want them in the community. If we don't have developments like this, they won't be living here, period, end of story. We've got Villages of Eastmore. It's struggling. It is. And it's got some pretty high requirements. But it's right across from Roberson Woods. It's got a whole different aspect to it. Granted, it's got Carrington Estates in the north, but it's sort of buffered. But when you drive in, you don't see that. You see Roberson Woods. And there's a place for Roberson Woods. There's a place for upscale. It is not this 80-acre wide-open flat field. Tonight, we would request that you approve this with the covenants and with the commitments that we've included in the zoning ordinance, knowing that we are committed when we go back to the Plan Commission for plat approval, that it will include the covenants and restrictions that require 1,650 square foot for 80% of the homes, and the commitment for the brick ban. With that, I'd answer any additional questions you might have.
Tell me about drainage, what happens there, and whether or not there's a traffic study done, and whether or not the developer is responsible for road improvements.
There was a traffic study done in 2006 based upon the 196 lots. That traffic study did call for improvements to Hadley Road. I would have to dust it off, and it could be the Plan Commission, since it's 15 years old and things have changed, would probably require it to be updated. I would assume that's the case. So yes, this does have two entrances, one through Grandview and one on the Hadley. The one on the Hadley will be a boulevard. It will have turn lanes, and there'll probably be improvements on Hadley, which we can do because Carrington Estates in the north has a dedicated right-of-way that makes the right-of-way there significantly wide enough that we can do those improvements. So if the traffic study calls for a passing lane, a passing blister, tapers, that's what will be required for us to do. As far as drainage goes, the drainage would have to adhere to the town of Mooresville's drainage ordinance, stormwater ordinance, and that stormwater ordinance in a nutshell requires that the discharge for stormwater from this site actually be less for any given storm event than it is currently. For a farm field, particularly depending on if it's a row crop versus a cover crop, I mean, the runoff can be significant. It can be huge. Whereas this, you'll have homes, but you're going to have two very large detention basins of lakes. One of them basically a lake. But we will have to adhere to Mooresville's stormwater ordinance before they turn the first shovel full of dirt. And that's done by a consultant that's out in Indianapolis. So you can bet they'll make sure it's done right. So there were a couple other things, traffic you hit on, which we will have to address. Whatever the traffic study requires, we'll have to do. The other aspect to this whole thing is that somebody could come in today, they probably wouldn't be a very smart businessman, and say, I'm going to develop this, I'm going to do it. Well, they'll probably be bankrupt in a year or so because they can't afford to, nobody want to buy the houses. So, but from a traffic standpoint in that, there's 196 lots approved. We're not changing that density. It's going to be the same. So if it was good enough 15 years ago, traffic-wise, it ought to be good enough today. Not to say that there won't be some additional improvements required because traffic counts have gone up, but you can see what I'm getting at. It's not like we're shoehorning in more lots. It's the same number of lots.
what's the size of those lots? Are they about a third of an acre?
Yeah, they're 12,000 square feet, so little more than a quarter of an acre. 43,000 square feet in an acre, basically, and they're 12,000, so you can see they're about a quarter of an acre.
3.8.
Yeah. So the lot sizes haven't changed from what was previously approved. Lot layout hasn't changed, or won't change. It still has to go back to the Plan Commission. Still, Plan Commission gets to put the standards and requirements for the UDO to this ground. Should be rezoned. Then, and those standards are for streets, roads, sewers, radiuses for curbs, types of curbs, sidewalks. All those things are laid out in the UDO.
Are there any features in the subdivision?
Are there any what?
Features like walking trails?
There could be. There's a park. There's some common areas. There's some things like that. All those types of things could be worked out with the Plan Commission, but there'll be sidewalks throughout both sides of the street. That's required. There's a park area. There's 2 lakes, common areas around those lakes for recreational purposes. I think there's a playground as part of the park, but yes.
Would it be a homeowners association?
Excuse me?
Would there be a homeowners association in it? Okay.
There will have to be a homeowners association because the homeowners association, and this gets back to the point of, to have a community maintained adequately, you need a significant number of lots. What is that magic number? I have no idea, but it's certainly more than 15 or 20. With 196 lots, there can be enough assets and financial wherewithal to maintain the facilities very well. For instance, they would have to maintain all the common areas, the playgrounds, and things like that, landscaping. Which goes back to another thing, the landscaping that was presented as part of the PUD and is still there for this because we haven't changed as far as the landscape easement widths and things like that along Hadley. There would be significant mounding and landscaping along Hadley. So basically, you wouldn't be able to see into the subdivision.
Mike, did you have something else?
Yeah, I just want to clarify some of the statements that Mr. Howell made. He was saying that they can't afford $500,000 houses here. The median house that we would like to see go into that location would not be a $500,000 house. As we stated, it would only cost $4,000 more to put the Hardy plank on their entry-level house. I think a house that's $300,000 house is going to cost $6,000 more than Hardy plank or LP doors. Statement about villages of Eastmore, there's several houses going in there now, and that location there's taking off. So that's a misstatement. The Planning Commission has heard all of the excuses why a medium level subdivision will not work there. If this developer doesn't think this is his core business, to develop a better subdivision, then he needs to stick to Henry County and build a house there that he can get the money that he wants. But there will be somebody that can go in there and build those houses. And we've heard time and time again that this won't happen, and I don't believe that.
My response is, if 15 years, how long? 15 years, how long?
How do we know?
I'm not going to get an argument with a member of the audience. I think this council has a job to do. I think the council realizes that this community needs housing. It needs good quality housing, and this development is quality housing at prices that we can have people stay in the community. And I think something that the community can be proud of. It is already within the corporate limits, It already has sanitary sewer and water on the property, and it will be a nice development. I think it'll be something Mooresville can be proud of. We would ask for your approval tonight of our ordinance from PUDR to R1C. Thank you.
Any conversation? Thoughts, comments? Jeff?
I have none.
Shane?
This is the point where the rubber meets the road. I looked at the petition, and my own great uncle signed the petition against this. However, I'm going to start ticking some of the audience off, and that's part of the job sometimes. We are in desperate need of housing. My house appraised for $195,000. Do I not belong in Mooresville? Do I not belong? I guarantee you, yeah.
No, you very much belong in Mooresville, but so do people that want to have a $325,000 home.
That's right.
That's the point you're missing.
These are $325,000 homes.
$350,000.
They are 350.
Entry-level homes.
I'm not going to argue with you because I don't want.
Question. Don't hit me with a question if you don't want to hear the feedback.
So,
Shane, if you would, go ahead with your thoughts.
okay.
Please.
To deny this is killing our town. From a tax standpoint.
No, it's not.
Okay. All right.
Status quo.
Hold on just
Okay,
a second.
so-
Hold on just a second. Everyone had their
so-
opportunity to talk. Let's
That's
give our
right.
council member the same thing.
That's right. So, you think a piece of
Wait
property.
a minute, Shane. I wouldn't ask a question. I'd make a statement.
All right. This piece of property pays about $1,800 in property taxes now. With this subdivision, it would pay around $300,000 in property taxes. Alone. That's not counting income taxes. You're building in shoppers for your local businesses. People say they want a Chick-fil-A, they want a steakhouse. You're not going to get that without population. You're preventing the sale of a property. I believe in free enterprise. We have a willing buyer, a willing seller. You'd be holding up that sale. You'd be holding up about $50 million in construction and the jobs that go with that, the financing and the banking jobs. I mean, it goes on and on and on what you get out of a subdivision. I don't buy the idea that they're starter homes. I think they're much nicer than that. They're much more than my house is. Probably more expensive than most members, if not all of us on this council. I mean, there's a reason this newspaper is yellow, and there's a reason that it didn't happen 15 years. We had the Trump economy. I mean, we've had the biggest housing boom in my lifetime. There's no housing inventory. We've got a masonry construction subdivision in Villages of Eastmore, so we have that option. We don't have, I call this at least a mid-range option. So, I don't know, I'm not against the free enterprise system. I'm just not.
Greg, your thoughts?
I've got a lot of thoughts. We need houses bad, and I agree with about everything Shane said, actually.
Oh, wait.
Whoa, time out.
That's on there.
Be a church. Easy.
That's rare, that's rare, but.
Justin?
This is where it's tough. You're going to make somebody mad regardless. I've gotten phone calls. I've had people stop on my house. Again, to kind of reiterate, the house, I've lived here all my life. Started my family here in a starter home that's about $200,000 less than this. We've upgraded a little bit, and it's still less than these. And I say that, you know, I have to join the ones that probably are not gonna be anybody's friend tonight. A lot of people, a lot of realtors have called me, they got people ready to go. Gonna be a bad guy, so.
Plus, anybody can, I mean, they're not gonna build any spec homes, right? I mean, they're gonna be custom homes that the people that are buying the lots can spec anything they want. You know, you're just not gonna build.
As long as it conforms to.
Right.
The package.
Right, I mean, they can, if they want a $400,000 home, they can build a $400,000 home. You know.
My issue's always been that zoning's forever. That's my problem. And I don't know that I trust anyone any more than I do the two families that have come together on this. If it's the Hatfields and McCoys or whatever it is, I trust them as much as I trust anyone. But it's still zoning forever. If tomorrow you both hit the Powerball and decide you don't want to do this anymore, it's still the zoning. I do trust you guys to make your families proud, because I think that's what you guys try to do. But I still think that somewhere the question keeps coming up, 15 years. 15 years, a lot of things happen on this. This property was bought and sold in a coffee house at one point in that 15 years. It was donated in that 15 years. And I don't know that it was ever really on the market, because the family that owned it, they weren't big sellers of anything. They were more buyers of everything. So I think we can justify why it hasn't done it in 15 years. But that said, we do have a petition in front of us. We need a motion to either approve or deny. The motion would be to either accept the recommendation or deny or not approve the recommendation from the Planning Commission. That is the two motions, or a motion to table.
I'm used to ticking people off, so I'm gonna make the motion to deny the recommendation, the unfavorable recommendation, and approve the zoning from PUDR to R1C.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I will second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Can we approve this? Can we approve this as a ordinance then tonight, or have the first reading?
Because the public hearing happened at the Planning Commission.
Okay. What ordinance are we up for?
10.
Gentlemen, I need a motion to approve ordinance 10.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I need a motion to approve ordinance 10, 2021, excuse me, rezoning this property.
Motion to approve ordinance 10, 2021, rezoning this property.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Because we accepted it, I did vote against it. I will vote for this ordinance. I lost. We move on. We're one team. Thank you, guys. 5-0.
Thank you, sir.
Rezone East North County Line Road and Ferguson Road. Who could that be?
I don't know. This guy about wore out.
Please state your name.
Ross Holloway, Holloway Engineering, right down the street here. Got another handout. We're here tonight, Hyatt Homes, different piece of property, not near as large.
I have to sit this one out, Ross. Thank you. I won't be voting on this one.
Here tonight for Pyatt Homes. I handed out, they are the folks that are building the homes at Hadley Corners, North Madison Crossing. They built a very nice home. You can see I've handed you a brochure. I also have the zoning ordinance with 2 commitments. And again, Ms. Copeland has worked with us on making sure it met the requirements of the Plan Commission's commitments. There were 2 commitments for this project. One is that there would be 1,524 square feet would be the minimum, and that first story front would be brick masonry. So to back up, the property is located just south of County Line Road on the east side of Ferguson. You can see Allison Transmission is on the north of this property. There are some large lot residential areas to the west. There's also some industrial to the northwest, agriculture to the south, agriculture to the east, and commercial to the north, Heartland Crossing on down to the east. The property is 27.43 acres. The rezone request is from I-1 to R1D. The commitments I've already went through. This property would have 73 lots. It would be 10,000 square feet each, and you might be wondering why not 12,000 square feet. Well, the difference is it will require a lift station to service this property. Lift stations are very, very expensive. Unlike Hadley Road, which it will also require a lift station, but it's got 196 lots to spread that cost across. So all the infrastructure costs, streets, lift stations, sewer, water, has to be spread, in this case, across 73 lots, basically only a third of the lots of the other development. Therefore, if you can't get the density that you need to cover those costs, the lots and the homes therefore become unaffordable. Even at that, these homes will be, what, Todd? What's the price range?
This should average just over
$300,000. So you can see here that they're nice homes, and if you've got any questions, be glad to answer them. We went through a lot of the preliminary stuff. Everything that applies to Hadley Road applies to this one. And we need the housing. You might think to yourself, well, we've got 270 some lots now we're approving tonight. Believe me, the way Pyatt's building houses and the way the market is, these things will be gone in 4 to 5 years, both developments. That's the projection. So again, the same arguments are there. We need housing. This, while it's not in the corporate limits, I believe that it very well could be without a whole lot of effort, because I think we could come in from the west through some of those parcels there and ultimately get annexed. This property drops from the north to the south as far as the change in elevation goes, and I think if you've been out to North Madison Crossing and looked at the homes out there, they're nice homes. Basically the same builder.
I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to ask for the public's comments, and I will have some questions for you.
Sure.
Again, because this is more as a courtesy, the public hearing is actually the Planning Commission meeting. But I have Robert Hull, I think I saw him go out. Bob Hagemeyer. Bob?
Yeah, I'm on the south side of the border, all the way from the front to the back. And to me, it's postage stamp lots and way too many homes. It's going to be traffic. You're talking about another 200 cars, because usually there's at least 2 cars to a family. and if not 3. And plus, probably this is nothing to you people, but it's going to be, my property is going to be a playground for all those kids. Because I got woods and a creek that borders it. So I'm strictly against it.
Dale Green? Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, you want me to come up there, here?
If you can speak loud.
My only question is, if you have, who's gonna build these homes? Hopwood, you gonna build these homes too? No? My only question is, if you make it residential, then it's residential. Can't they put whatever price house they want to in there? Or do you make, I heard on the last one, you made limits of some kind. Are those limits for sure?
They've made some commitments within their ordinance of what they will do.
Yeah, commitments, that was a word. So, those commitments, are they, and then this last one said if the commitments weren't followed, you had to go back to you and get it redone, or what?
That was on the covenants. They did write into their ordinance or into their commitments to us that their covenants would be enforced by not only their homeowners association, but it also gave the authority to the town to also do that. I don't know, covenants and restrictions are usually a civil matter, and in this case here, I did ask legal counsel, and yes, we can, if they make that commitment to us. We as the town of Mooresville. I question, how that would work, because I don't know that we've had a single other subdivision in the town of Mooresville that has offered that to the seated council.
Out at North Madison Crossing, we put in the covenants and restrictions. Certain houses have to have 100% brick, certain houses have it, and it's right in the covenants. And Tim Bennett, when the permit is issued, he checks that.
Okay.
So if that house doesn't meet that requirement that's in the covenants and restrictions, he won't issue a permit on it. So I'm sure this will be taken care of the same way.
Are there any restrictions on this piece of property, the Ferguson piece of property, as far as prices of homes? Are there any commitments at all?
Minimum dwelling living areas on the one-story, exclusive of the garages, porches, and basements, shall not be less than 1,500 square feet.
1,500 square feet is what, a quarter of an acre?
No, 1,500 square feet. 43,560 on that, so yes.
And how many homes is going to go in there?
It's approximately 73.
On how many acres?
Excuse me?
On how many acres?
27 acres.
73 on 27 acres.
That's a starter home. Right? No.
No. They'll be probably $300,000, so they're not starter homes.
Is that in writing? We're going to get that $300,000, that's for sure?
Where am I in this discussion? Should I wait, or what do you want me to do?
I don't know that we can get them to say every house is going to cost exactly $300,000 or more. I think they're giving us a best guess or an educated guess on what they think this square footage of lot and this square footage of house would cost to go in there.
So they could put postage style cheap old starter homes and put 80 of them in there instead of 73.
I think their commitment is for the 70. Please, go ahead.
We have a preliminary layout, and it's 73 lots, And by the time you have the detention basin in there and everything else and the necessary streets and frontage and setbacks, it cannot be any more. And very well might end up being a couple lots less after we do actually all the engineering and find out the detention basin size. So it will not be more than 73, I can tell you that right now. And as far as the price of the homes, I've been doing this for way too many years, and you will never ever get me or a developer or anybody else with a half a brain to tell you what something's going to cost when it comes time to building a house or a development or something like that. It's impossible to know. And if they do tell you that every house in here will be $300,000 or blowing smoke, because a lot of them will be much, much more than that. There might be a few less than that. But given the square footage and the types of homes that they build with the brick on the first floor front, $300,000 is probably about right for the lower end of 1,500 square foot. And they got a track record. Go out in North Madison, look at those homes. I mean, and look at I think theirs out there is the less is $225,000 out there.
Currently, the starting price is in the 260s, average is just under 300,000, and will be going up as more closings happen.
The difference there, though, is number one, there's a lot more loss to spread that infrastructure cost over. They do not require a lift station, and a lot of the infrastructure was put in back 15, 20 years ago when it was a fraction of the cost it costs now. So development costs for virgin property now is just astronomical, and it's going up every day. Lumber package alone just in the last few months has went up $16,000 on a typical ranch style home. So I would venture to say, just my opinion, that you'll be hard pressed to get a $300,000 home in here by the time it's on the market because of the infrastructure cost.
Are we gonna have a light at the county line in 67?
I don't know that I'm going to address the traffic. I'm going to ask similar questions, but I don't know that it's up to the developer. I don't know that they could make a commitment that they're going to put a light there. It would have to meet certain merits with the state of Indiana before we can't just arbitrarily tell them, hey, you have to put up a light. But we can. I'm going to ask what their thoughts are on that.
So if you think it's DP, you'd put them on there?
I don't have that kind of authority. I'm 1/5 of a town council, and we don't have that kind of authority to do any of that.
Somebody dies and then.
We don't have control of that.
And then put one up.
Badly, that's part of the.
We can't just put a light up on 67.
Well, I've lived there almost all my life. I vote against it, so whatever that means don't mean nothing, but I said it.
Well, did not put a light up where it said one light.
Because we don't have that kind of authority.
Somebody does.
State of Indiana does. The state of Indiana does. That's.
You guys get with us.
They don't listen to us. It will have to meet the merits, because what happens is, if it doesn't meet the cross-traffic merits of traffic coming in there, and they put a light up, it turns red, someone has a wreck there. If it does not meet the Unified Traffic Control Manual requirements for a traffic signal, then they're liable again. It's a double-edged sword that we have to make sure, we have questions about alleys and one-way streets and everything like that, and now we have to make sure that we do everything exactly right. But there's a lot of lights going up there, and where they meet the merits, they're putting them up. The state of Indiana is.
Who figures that out, the merits?
The state of Indiana. We don't have that kind of control. I'm sorry, say again?
You're saying the state, right?
Yes, Indiana Department of Transportation.
Ross, does the traffic study look at that intersection? Will it go out that far?
Unlikely. It could, but it would be unlikely, mainly because neither the county, as Tom said, nor the developer or the town has any jurisdiction. There would have to be a warrant, what they call signal warrant. In fact, we just got through doing one in Columbus. We got a big nursing home project we're doing over there on State Road 46 west of Columbus. And we had to do a warrant there, and it wasn't warranted. So the state said, we don't want one. They said, we do not want one. If it's not warranted, they don't want it. Because, as Tom said, it can be a liability, a significant cost too. So, but there would have to be a traffic study. The roads here are controlled by either Morgan County or Hendricks County. So the Plan Commission could require a traffic study. We have been in contact with the Morgan County Highway Engineer. He's aware of the project, and they would be setting the conditions by which we would have to either put in turn lanes, passing blisters, whatever that would be. They very well could require a traffic study and probably will. The Plan Commission of its own could require a traffic study, and they probably will. Whether that warrants any improvements or what improvements, let's say that, would be up to them, because it sort of goes back to the signal. If they're not warranted by some kind of study, a legitimate traffic study, then you're opening yourself to some liabilities and things that you don't want because you don't have any documentation to back up what you did. So, but there will probably be a traffic study. But more importantly for traffic, this Ferguson Road has a north and a south. It's not like everybody's going to go north to 67. If you're going to go to Mooresville, to our new steakhouse, because we're going to have 250 new residents, they're going to go south. They're not going to go north. Granted, a traffic study would show what that division is. They have percentages right and left and things like that. So, but there will be a traffic study, I'm sure, by somebody. And my clients would have to pay for that. So, and they would be required to do whatever improvements is warranted by the traffic study. But I can tell you this with 99% confidence, it will not extend to 67 and County Line Road. I don't think the traffic now would warrant it, or the state would have done something. And that would be a major, major, major traffic signal. So they wouldn't do it lightly, that's for sure.
I got two more questions. Are there going to be any entrances off of Ferguson Road, number one? And number two, if there's going to be that much traffic going on Ferguson Road, there's all kinds of dips. Is it going to be repaved? Is it going to be a decent road going through there?
What he said there was they've already been in contact with the county, and the county will make that determination as far as what they see that they need to do. And yes, yes. Again, that's not ours. Is there anyone else here, either for or against, that wants to speak?
Yeah, I think what they're trying to say is there's a lot of them that live on that street. There's probably, 15, 20 houses of us that live on that area that are going to be affected. But Heartland Crossing, they've had a lot of problems with their area over there. We just don't want to see that happen to our area. The 300,000 that he came up with, now he's backtracking again, and he can't get us from what and to what. And most of our houses over there are anywhere from 180 to probably 300,000 along that road there. I mean, maybe even more. But they'd like to have some reassurance from your committee that you're going to do what's best for us as a whole.
He did.
The question is, you guys plan on putting city water in those houses? If so, that whole street would probably enjoy having it too.
There's water out there now. Is that correct? Didn't you say Indiana American was out there?
It's on. Not the whole street.
Not the whole street, but on county line. Okay.
Goes up to where there's a fire hydrant right there going back to the apartment type things back there.
I think,
The rest of them's wells.
yeah, we all have wells. But that would be something that if they would like to offer us, it could have 60 to 300,000.
Anything else?
I got a question. I'm just a little concerned about the, I know they said there's gonna be retention ponds in there, but where's the overflows from them gonna be directed?
That's going to be overseen by an engineering firm, because like he said, it is law that they cannot discharge any more water onto you than what's already coming on to you.
That's what I'm getting at, is the creek runs right back through there, so I'm wondering if they're gonna try to discharge the overflow out of the detention ponds into the creek, because the creek runs right beside my house. If any more water in there, my house is gonna be flooded.
I can tell you that the way that it's set up, the way that the law is written, that they cannot run any more water onto you than what's already being run onto you. Ross, is that a fair statement?
Not only will it not be more, it will be less, because your ordinance requires it, the post-development runoff to be less than the pre-development runoff for any given storm event.
Well, right now, though, that whole field holds water. When it does rain, it's low, so it holds a lot of the water in there. So
Well, I think that's what he's trying to commit to you, is the fact that the way the statute's written, it will be less than what it is now. Because you get into the hard surfaces of the roads, the roofs, the driveways, sidewalks, umbrellas. Any other questions, comments?
If you're gonna put a retention pond in there, you gonna let me put fish in there and fish out that thing? Yeah, that's what I'll have. Yeah. Just don't be on your couch anymore.
That's the best question of the
My
night.
question wasn't really answered about the water being extended to that road, to the house.
There will have to be a water main extension from County Line Road South. Having worked with Citizens Water or Citizens Energy now for many, many years, that water main will have to be extended to the south property line of this property. So if you are somewhere in there, you'll be able to connect. You have to deal with Citizens, not the developer. But that would be an opportunity to extend the main further south someday, should somebody want to do that. But the main would be extended to the south side of this property.
You understand that?
Well, I'm on the north side of Ferguson. There's like 12 houses that are on the north side.
If you are directly across from where this property is shown, there would be a water main along Ferguson Road that you could make arrangements with Citizens Water to connect.
Indiana American.
Indiana American?
Yeah, but he's not, he's on the other side of the creek.
What he's saying is that they're not allowed to run it to the most convenient point. They got to run it all the way across the property for the next development, for the next, Bob, I think it would go to your property. I think that's the way Water does it. I think that's the way.
I'm not county corner from where he put it, so I don't think they're gonna come that far.
I do have, and you'd be dang disappointed if I didn't, wouldn't you?
Yeah, Mr. Pye's going to address some of the costs of the houses when we're done.
Okay. If the planning commission or wants a traffic study done, since it's a south border and Hendricks County controls that, do we have to go to Hendricks County to request that? Or
no?
Because I know
We can do the traffic study basically just because the Plan Commission orders it.
Okay.
What would happen though if there were any improvements that were required by that traffic study, then Hendricks County would have to be involved and have to approve those improvements. But just to do the study, no. However, I can tell you from a traffic engineering standpoint, they would contact Hendricks County's engineer, Mr. Ayers, and get all that information, make him aware of what's going on, try to get any traffic information he has. So they would be aware of it. They'd probably welcome it, quite frankly. But when it comes times to do any improvements that would be required by the study, then Hendricks County would have to approve those improvements, but not the study.
Okay. Currently, we have, within our civil town, we have the dealership and then we have the Center for Behavioral Science. They own a strip of road.
Yes.
It is still, and I didn't realize it, but it is not, the center is Mooresville. The road itself is not.
That's correct.
If that road were annexed,
yes,
would we have, and you minor plat that parcel, would we have our 1/8 contiguity to that first lot?
You want the tricky answer or the real answer?
I want the real answer.
The real answer is no. You would not meet because the strip is only 50, 60 feet wide, something like that. So 1/8 contiguity, and the frontage along this property is 700-800 feet, so you wouldn't get there.
No, once you minor plat it.
If you minor platted along where?
I think what Tom's saying is when you go in for the minor plat and you separate it out to the individual smaller lots, for that first smaller lot, do we have the contiguity on that for the
Not
1/8?
enough.
That's even for a single lot where that's gonna have a house on it?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes,
Yes, you could domino, and that was getting my tricky part. You could do a domino annexation.
And would your client be willing to foot the bill for that?
Annexation would be pretty easy. You have to have a willing owner.
You'd have to have a willing company for the Center for Behavioral Science, and I don't know what the name of that is.
Sugarwood, I think, I mean, if they were willing, I mean, the cost is relatively modest. Maybe the town would throw in some attorney work on it, so. But it's possible doing that, yes.
Would you be willing to make that commitment?
Yes. We would take care of the minor platting. I think if the town could work on the annexation ordinances and things like that.
No, the legal portion of it, the legal cost is what I'm wanting to.
The legal cost is pretty minor, quite frankly.
We're outside of a census year. We can.
Right, so the hesitation is going to be right prior to the census.
Correct.
You're good to go on annexations now. If it is a super voluntary annexation, it's really just calendaring on our part. They would have to incur the expense. I mean, the biggest expense that will be the fiscal study on the annexation as to whether or not the impacts it has on the town. If the town is already servicing that area, then the impacts are going to be minimal. But that's going to be the big thing. The creation of the ordinance itself is, I don't know, this is what you're at. We can create the super voluntary annexation ordinance under the retainer issue. It's if we're going to be fighting and going through the entire process of an involuntary or just a voluntary annexation is where the costs go up. If you're talking about a super voluntary, it's going to be just a prep up for an ordinance.
Since it's not in the town of Mooresville, that little road out there coming from the Center for Behavioral Science, where it tees in, that may give us contiguity to one lot, and then stagger them from there.
Domino. In fact, we did that, quite frankly, I think when we did Young's subdivision extended sanitary sewer to it a few years ago, almost the same process. Of course, annexation then was easier than it is now.
Well, I know there's been some changes since that.
Yeah.
And we still got to figure out how we're going to get Lakeside Commons.
If it's all voluntary, then or super voluntary, it's much easier.
It would have to be after the after the plat.
That's correct.
But before the first sale, while we have one owner.
Right. But if it's super voluntary, then, I mean, that shouldn't be a problem. So there's a potential here, probably a real potential, get the Sugarwood people involved, and I think they would want to get it all annexed.
It's just that one strip, it's just the road
Yeah,
itself.
but I think it's owned by, what is their last name?
Yeagers?
We work for, huh?
Is that part of Yeager's property?
Yes, Yeager, yeah. But they should want to, I would think, because there would be some benefits to it. I'll have to double check that and make sure it's still Yeager. But
I don't know if that may be part of the, yeah, it's Sugarwood LLC.
yeah, so that's Yeager.
Comments or questions? Jeffrey?
I have none.
Greg's hitting this one out. Dustin?
Believe it or not, you actually jumped ahead of me on a question, so I got mine answered.
Thank you.
Discussion?
Did you want to address the pricing cost?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know you wanted to speak on that.
Sure, yeah, I'd be happy to. Todd Pyatt. So probably the best way that I would address it would be to compare it again to North Madison Crossing. North Madison Crossing community right now is the exact same product that we would be building at Allison Estates. It's got the exact same commitments that are there, same lot sizes. Basically, everything would be the same. Currently, those prices of homes are ranging from $260 is the base price, but again, the average that we're closing at is about $300,000. So that continues to jump up. I know Ross mentioned that prices have been escalating. That does continue to be the case, and unfortunately, it's not $16,000 in lumber. It's close to $40,000 in lumber on an average home now. So that, along with land costs and pipe and everything else that goes into a house and a piece of ground, is going up. So we would certainly expect that to be higher than what we're seeing at North Madison Crossing.
Is there any commitment, Mr. Green mentioned about, like, similar to the last subdivision of an 80-20 type of situation?
No, there's not. But there again, that never came up at the Plan Commission, so it wasn't included in this as a commitment. And I think the difference is, number one, there's a track record here, not that Sean and Keegan won't do exactly what they say, but as far as the product goes, I mean, you know what they're building in North Madison, and quite frankly, with the rapid building that's going on there, before you blink, they'll probably have this thing built out, so you won't ever have to worry about it. So,
Can you speak to what you're selling there, size-wise? I know you said average of 300. What is it generally?
Average square footage is around 2,500 square feet. So I don't believe we've actually built any 1,500 square foot houses in there. I think the lowest, and don't quote me on this, but is somewhere around 1,780 square feet on a ranch. We have a few ranches on that, call it that 1,700 to 1,900, but if you drive through a community, the majority of what you would see are large ranches, 22 to 2,460 square foot ranches themselves, or on the two-story side, there's our number one selling out plan out there is the 3,040. So that's where you get that average. That would be about 2,500 square feet.
You expect a similar trend here?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that seems to be, at least from our buyer in this product, points that 2,500. That is kind of the sweet spot of what we see them buying.
At 3,040?
3,040 is the the average, or is the best selling.
What do we do on that? You have 3,040 is more than 25% of the lot size. And our UDO says not to exceed 25%.
If they came in with that plan, my guess is that the building inspector would not approve the permit if it's gonna exceed that threshold.
There's a 10-to-1 ratio on lot size to house size in the UDOs.
25, it's 4 to 1.
1,000 square foot home requires a 10,000 square foot lot. 12,000 square foot home requires a 1,200 square foot home requires a 12,000 square foot lot. So there's a 10-to-1 ratio. I think it's page 36.
29 gives maximum lot coverage of 25%. 25%, so the 2,400 square foot home, and that's across the board on the 25%.
But 2 stories, you can put a footprint, 1,200, 1,300
Is that a
square foot.
footprint coverage? So when it says coverage, it's usually what are you?
Okay, so
Foundation.
I just don't want to set our BZA up for failure if you run in there and say, hey, we need a variance from this, because I don't think that would actually meet the findings of fact for a variance.
It would be no different than any other lot, North Madison Crossing, it doesn't matter. If you want to build a bigger house that would require a variance, you would apply for a variance, and that variance might very well be that the hardship is we want to put a bigger house on here, not because you guys required a 1,500 square foot house, because you can do that in a 2-story and have a 1,200 square foot footprint.
Okay.
So, see what I'm saying? There still might be variances, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised if there wouldn't, but it's not because of you guys, it's because they want to build a bigger house, or don't want to do a 2-story. I mean, if it's like me in my wheelchair, maybe I want a big flat ranch. So I'd be asking for a variance. But it wouldn't be because of any action this body took.
Okay. Answer. Thank you. Discussion?
So just to be clear, if the zoning change is approved here, they can go to BZA to request a variance if they want to. We would not have a say over the variance, it'd be BZA only, correct?
But then you have the statutory requirements to meet.
Rick Allison, did you want to say something?
No, I put it down in case I need to speak on anything.
There was a Brian Turley, I imagine that was for the last one. I don't think he's here. Gentlemen, what do we want to do? We had this before us last year. Highest and best use of the ground at that point in time was industrial. Now it's being changed back. So I don't know. I struggle with that, Ross. You know I do.
And legitimately so, but I think from the standpoint of the neighbors in the community, $300,000 home right across the street is going to do nothing but increase their property values, whereas some kind of industrial use, even light industrial across the street, might have a detrimental effect.
That's not the song you were singing earlier this year.
Hey, I have to play the cards and belts.
Got a whole lot less people with the industrial.
Gentlemen?
Well, you know what our feeling is. If they're two-story vinyl, it's gonna be pretty ugly anyway. Setting all of the posting stamp lot, and then you got rid of the walk between.
What was that?
I hunt down there in that little woods, you better keep that in mind.
Well, you know, I-1 can have like tractor sales and things like that, and traffic generators too, so. But for the whole community, going back to my original argument, is we still need homes. We still need homes.
Yeah, but you also said in that argument, we need jobs and industry.
We do. But I-1 is not going to bring the jobs we really need. It's not. We need TOAs. We need nice packs. We need industry like that. And they need workers, and workers have to have some place to live. And this would be a good place for it. And potential for annexation too.
Gentlemen, I need a motion on the Planning Commission's negative recommendation.
I'll make a motion that we not accept the unfavorable recommendation and grant the R1D residential subdivision.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
What was his motion?
His motion is to not accept the unfavorable recommendation, in essence granting the rezone to R1D.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'm going to oppose that one too, and it has nothing to do with me thinking you guys will do a great thing. I think I made the motion to go to I-1. Rick, I still think that's a great place for industrial ground.
The only thing about that, Tom, I agree that they need industrial, but I think I'm qualified to speak on it. That's not really a good industrial site, because only about half of it's usable because it falls off. Houses, residential, you can step the roads down because you don't have a big pad. But if you've got a big industrial building, you gotta have a pad area. And it'd be outrageously expensive.
I accept that. I just really want to vote against Ross. Twice. No, I really don't. I need a motion to approve ordinance, I want to make this for the record. Motion was made. Motion was seconded by Jeff. 3, I opposed. Greg, you abstained?
Abstained.
Okay.
Good. I feel better that you said that. Yeah.
Ordinance 11, 2021. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve ordinance 11, 2021.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Again, I vote aye. I know I lost. But we're one team. Abstain? Build houses for us. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Before you all leave, I'd like to speak. This is directed to Dustin.
Sir.
I've called you 7 or 8 times this week. And you don't return the call. Why not?
I'm sorry, what?
I've called you and called you, you won't return the call.
You called 317-696-2222?
Yep.
I promise I have not gotten a call.
What?
There is... When did you call?
Last week.
in last week. I get about 30 phone calls a day.
I don't remember what day, but I know I called you.
What's your cell phone number? Hey,
17366-1993.
you are more than welcome to come up here and look.
What's that?
There is no number. What was that again, 390?
317-366-1993.
Not listed wrong on the website, is it? It's not listed wrong on the website by chance, is it?
I don't know.
Tom, do you want to pass those down to sign?
I don't know who made them, they have one signature on them.
Okay.
I am currently back to 5/9. Should have been Sunday of last week, right? Let me check the website, see if that's correct.
While you do that, do you mind if we
Please continue.
zone Old State Road 67 and Sycamore Lane?
It is listed correct on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, we sure can.
I'm not a very good sharer. I'm just kidding.
He can have all of
This will be the most helpful.
them. Okay.
Get to you in a minute. You need to go through my thing real quick. I'm back to 5/6.
Go ahead.
For the record, my name is David Gilman. My offices are at 211 South Ritter Avenue, Indianapolis, Indiana, 4620219. I represent Dennis Leahy, property at 10015 North Old State Road 67, which is on Old State Road 67 in Superior. Superior goes back to Shell, Brick, and the industry back in that area. So we're right on that northeast corner. The property my client owns comprises of two parcels, 1.5 acres on the hard corner, and then there's 1.62 acres that he owns just north of that. And we came to the Plan Commission and the council graciously approved us on that south acre and a half in I-1S industrial zoning. My client is a masonry and he's going to do his concrete business on that parcel. He bought the parcel to the north that I spoke of, the 1.62 acres. He renovated the house, put a lot of money in it. Now he wants to build a 32 by 54 detached garage. In the binder I gave you, there's plans of what that garage will look like, but it's basically all brick and mason, decorative stone. And the problem that we ran into is the lot narrows as when the lot approaches State Road 67, Old State Road 67, and so some of that garage straddles across his common line into the industrial. So the big map that I'm showing you that you're all looking at, that shows both layouts, his existing house to the north, where the garage encroaches into the industrial, and then his industrial development plans for the lot on the acre and a half on Superior. So what I'm needing to ask this council to do is grant approval to rezone .1096 acres from the industrial back to ag, so it matches the same zoning as the house, so we can build the garage. And that's about as simple as I can put it. And the Plan Commission approved us unanimously, 7-0. And we're here tonight just to ask for your blessing for the rezoning. And it's only that very small portion that you see in the middle. Yes.
Right here, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And that's all I have. If there's any questions that board members or anybody in the audience has, I'll be happy to answer them.
So was that already platted that way?
Yeah, both parcels were laid out as an acre and a half and 1.62. So we'll have to do a retracement survey because he owns both properties. And we're gonna have to take that common line and carve out that 1/10 of an acre and add it to the 1.62 and take it away from the 1.5.
That'll be a minor plat of that, or?
No, because he owns both properties and it's just an adjustment between lot lines and it doesn't create a new building site, then we've looked into that it just needs a retracement survey and 2 new deeds need to be recorded. Because we're not creating anything new for development or building other than we just need to borrow a little bit of land from one parcel that we already own to another.
Questions or comments? Again, this is also not the actual public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to speak on this matter? None. And the recommendation from the Planning Commission was to allow this.
You said allow?
Allow. So it received a positive recommendation from the Planning Commission. I need a motion to either accept or deny their recommendation.
I would make a motion to accept the favorable recommendation of the Planning Commission to carve out this 0.1096 acres at Old State Road 67. It's Sycamore Lane.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Can I leave you one binder but take the rest?
317.
Keep them as working? You want to keep that one with?
696.
Yes, we'll keep it with this.
2222.
You need that?
696, 2222.
Appreciate you.
I don't get to keep the binder.
You said you're on South.
317, 696, 2222.
Okay. Yeah, I know where it's at. I work
What's
that
that?
area. I work that area. I'll keep an eye on you tonight.
Okay, I'm sorry, I went back to my earliest call, or last call was 5-6, and it was listed as telemarker all the way through probably 20 phone calls today. The website has it correct. I'm sorry for the miscommunication.
Next item on the agenda is the second reading of the American Rescue Plan Ordinance. Were you able to get see if she can be here?
I sent her an email today right after I spoke with you. And she was in probably.
Okay. Ordinance 6, 2021 is the ordinance establishing the American Recovery Plan Act money. This is something that we have to do in order to take advantage of accepting that money and using it. This ordinance will allow us to bring that into our funds and spend it in any way that the federal government sees as acceptable. Diana Clerk Treasurer Walmsley has reached out and asked Paige to visit us and hopefully at our next meeting and give us Baker Tilly's thoughts and plans, or thoughts and opinions on how we proceed from here. They're tweaking that as we go, and I think we need to make sure that we stay on top of that.
Good.
We have had our public hearing on this, our last meeting.
So the first reading was the last meeting. This is just to establish the fund to put the, which allows the clerk treasurer to deposit the money into that fund.
Need a motion to approve ordinance 6, 2021.
Motion to approve ordinance 6-2021.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
That's from Greg. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda is the second reading of the Police Reserve Program. And look, we have a police officer walking to the podium.
I don't think he's a reserve.
Any questions on the ordinance? It just cleans up the older ordinance and gives more, I don't want to say control, but it's easier for the police commission. Should there need to be changes, they can do that in their own meeting.
Questions for Chief Julian? Motion to approve?
I didn't hear everything you said.
It's an ordinance where we're cleaning up the old reserve ordinance, just making it easier for the police commission should there need to be changes. Because right now, the way the ordinance reads, it's exactly mirrors what the SOP is, so any changes would have to be done by the town council first, then police commission would have to do that change also. This cleans it up more where it's more the police commission deals with any changes, less town board.
So this doesn't have nothing about getting you more officers.
No. I would like that, but no.
We spend money on everything else.
Well, I guess I needed to. I'll sing this one now. Motion to approve?
Motion to approve ordinance 7, 2021.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen.
Jeff Shane, 5-0.
I hardly ever second.
We must have been a little busier than I thought last meeting. Next item on the agenda is the second reading of the rules and regulations of the park department. And I think we have Mr. Callahan back there, if there's any questions for him.
This just updates, and it does change a couple of areas in there, but mostly it's an update. Our existing rules and regulations, and also allows those to be enforceable.
Does it create a reserve superintendent position?
No, but we need one.
Okay.
I work late shift tonight, so.
There you go, sir.
Comments or questions for Brent Callahan?
Can you quote this by memory?
Jewel does it for me.
Motion to approve ordinance 8, 2021.
Second.
Jeff Dustin, all in favor?
I was just waiting for somebody to.
Before he starts, IT Barracuda, we've already done.
Thank you, sir.
Ordinance 6. Next item on the agenda is Close Source and McCowan. Now, this is the same company, property owners. This is their CF1, their compliance statement for this year. Let's start out with the flow source. This will be for their personal property. does look like they're well within substantial compliance. Also looks like they have exceeded their estimates on employees, which is actually always a good thing. And their salaries are up substantially, maybe $1 million. Questions or comments from the board? Any questions or comments for Mike?
Mike, did you want to talk?
I just quickly would, since I'm here with you. Mike Dellinger, Morgan County EDC. I just, on behalf of FlowSource, Keen and Amy, they know I'm here this evening to make these comments to you. They really are very appreciative of what Mooresville did to help them stay in Morgan County. Remember, they were displaced by the I-69 project in Martinsville, and the town helped them out in Flagstaff with the rezoning, and as they indicate in their paperwork, they've exceeded what they expected. So it's been a great opportunity for Mooresville and Morgan County and FlowSource. So we thank you very much for your continued support. Thank you.
I'm sending down another ordinance 6. The first one I sent down was actually a copy. It was not the original. I apologize. Motion to accept the CF1 as in substantial compliance, within substantial compliance.
I'll make a motion that we accept the CF1 for FlowSource in acceptable compliance.
Motion been made. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is the real property. This is the brick and mortar. Again, I think they exceeded all their expectations as far as the kind, quality, and construction of their building. They did come back just a shade lower in the actual cost, which is good for them. But it's also, again, more employees than what they committed to, and that's a great thing. Comments or questions on the CF1 for the real property?
Motion to fine McCowan Real Estate LLC.
I think this is the flow source.
Oh, hang on. Let me go back up.
Real property.
No, the flow source is a personal property. The real property is McCowan Real Estate.
Okay.
Sorry. So again, do you want to start that with that?
Sorry, Dustin, without my interruption.
I just want for the record who was right.
You were right.
It never happens. And my wife's not here to correct that, so. Motion to fine McCowan Real Estate LLC in substantial compliance.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye, Mike.
Department heads. Not everybody at once.
I know, I've been kind of talking with Beth and Caitlin, with Taft Legal. It sounds like Vincent's has backed out of the deal. They have not gotten any of their financing, so basically now I'm coming to you to see if we want to move that vehicle, which is the engine, into a sealed bid or putting it on a website for bidding process.
I thought we voted to allow him to work with the attorney to.
Well, we did on the truck and the.
Yeah, so we reached out to Vincent's regarding the engine that they were talking about. They did not have the funding
Okay.
to go through with it. So I think at the last meeting, you approved the other two vehicles to be sealed
correct.
bid. If we want to do auction, the online auction, as long as it says approved by the state, then what you would need is a motion to allow the disposal of the 3 fire apparatus either via sealed bid or through an auction site, approved auction site.
So we've approved the other 2 by sealed bid, so wouldn't it make sense to approve this one by sealed bid?
If that's the way that you want to go out, if you want to take it just to advertise it, receive sealed bids, open them, and then that's it.
We'd still have the auction as a backup, correct?
You specifically had an approval for the sealed bid, so if you want to go to the auction way, I mean, I guess you could go through the process of taking them all and rejecting them all, and then going to auction.
In the future, if that was.
But you're gonna have another step in there.
So you need a motion, oh, go ahead, sorry. No, go ahead.
If we went sealed bid, how would it go as far as advertising? How far out would we advertise?
That's all statutory, so it would be in the paper, I'd have to look to be sure, but you have to advertise it twice, and put the parameters on there, and then let them know the date it was due by, sealed, and then you open it at a meeting.
I just didn't know how far it would get out, what all.
There's a minimum requirement time period, so you can't just do it under shade at night, so we could extend that time period too, as long as we want it to be.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is how, as far as advertising it, how big of a range would we have?
You can advertise it as far as you want to
I didn't know
advertise
how
it,
we would
because
do
it's sealed
that.
bid. So
i.e. social media.
we publish it in the paper, and then, but you can blast it out by media, send out emails, whatever.
Get, like, something to get out to other departments, or?
So I did reach out to the fire chiefs in the area, and I've emailed out saying that we have a couple of vehicles that we're up as a surplus, and if anybody knew anything, then send my way, and as of right now, I have not seen anything.
Do you need a motion? So I would make a motion to allow the fire chief, I guess, to work with the town attorney in a sealed bid process for the engine, to dispose of the engine.
Are you gonna put in a bid?
What's that?
Are you gonna put in a bid?
No.
Second. Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, though. You look good in it.
Look better than I do now.
Then the only other question I had, some people of my staff have asked, with the CDC lifting the mandated mask, are we going to do anything with that? That was the only question that I was just asking. It's not recommended or anything.
Keep staring at me. I hate masks, so.
Comments on that? What we said before was we would lead by example as far as, if you couldn't stay 6 feet away as an employee, and to respect the public. We weren't going to make it mandatory for the public to wear them. Do we just want to tell them that it's their choice? Yep, you're nodding yes. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's what we told them. I mean, you wear a mask if you want. I mean, are they wanting to take them off? Is that what they're asking?
Some of the guys are wearing them. I think it was a little bit one of those things that was kind of confusing.
Wearing them where?
In buildings and public and stuff when they're in their uniforms.
Again, yeah, take them off.
Any your thoughts?
Well, it's tough for me to decide on this one.
What do you do?
I suppose if they can take them off, then I can too, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's where we're at this point.
That's the reason I'm wearing mine, really, is because we've asked them to. I'm not fully vaccinated yet, but I will be soon.
What do we,
Maybe we could set an end date to a compromise.
I just know the CDC lifted their mandate now. You don't have to wear if you're fully vaccinated and,
After 2 weeks.
yeah, after the 2 weeks, but it's something else. And if you can just social distance and this and that, and that's all our guys are just
How
asking.
about if we make it follow CDC guidelines then, so if they qualify under those guidelines, then they can not wear them. If they don't, then they would wear them.
what are you having the guys do if they go into a medical run?
So if they're on a medical run, our recommendations or what we're basically putting out there is that if it's a known COVID case, then they're to wear their mask and their APRs and all that stuff.
But they go into Kroger's to buy groceries or Walmart to buy groceries.
They're supposed to be wearing their masks.
And your thoughts as a department head?
I am okay with it if they are doing their social distancing. They've got their vaccinations and stuff like that. I was just kind of going off of what you guys made the recommendation and the ruling of.
We don't know what we're doing. There's no playbook on it.
I know.
I think what we were trying to do was show the public that we're trying to support them. We're trying to help the citizens of Mooresville. So, an end date, or we can do it now. The CDC is saying if you're fully vaccinated and it's been 2 weeks, then you're good to go.
I still feel like that we should have to tell an employee to wear 'em. I mean, you're a department head, run your department, That's my opinion.
Leave it up to the...
Do something to make them happy.
We had a conversation earlier.
I'm well aware.
Are we going to, is that in the form of a motion to leave it to the department heads?
It's an opinion. I mean, do we have to make a motion on this? I mean...
Well, I think since we gave them some guidelines before, I think we need to amend our guidelines.
I make a motion that we leave it up to the department heads to make that decision for their employee.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. You are now the bad guy.
All right. Do you want me to stay up here? I have nothing further. I know Jewel and I were talking earlier with the trucks. I'm going to stay up here or for the legal, for the sealed.
The
sealed bids for the trucks. Do I need to stay up here?
Did you receive sealed? Did you get sealed bids in for the other two?
No.
Oh, well, then, I don't think we got the approval for it, so we'll move to.
I just wanted to say the park department, this Friday night is our first concert up at Pioneer Park for the season, and it's Living Proof. The concert's 7 to 9. Food trucks start serving at 6 o'clock. And then Saturday, we open the Aquatic Center and the Zip Line. So we're going full blast on that. And as far as the CDC and some of the requirements that we have from the state and the health department, some of our employees are required to wear them and some of them aren't, and we're working with the Board of Health on those different requirements. So we're good to go. We've got about 90 new employees for the town that are starting off. We've been having training sessions, so we're looking forward to a good summer.
Good that you found that many.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other department heads. You good? Legal counsel.
Nothing.
Public comments? None? Motion for approval of payment of claims.
Make a motion we approve claims in the amount of $368,291.47.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Town council comments. Jeff?
I've none.
Shane?
I have none.
Greg?
Good.
Dustin?
Two quick things. Martinsville baby box ceremony for blessing is at 2 p.m. tomorrow at their fire station. Happy to see Morgan County have two. Also, at the RDC meeting, we asked our attorney to draft a policy on electronic participation. So if you guys want to work with Adam and kind of mirror that, I know at least 4 people up here are really excited to spend the RDC's money, not the town. So, so giving you a freebie on this one.
I say we mirror what they do. You know, I guess we need to see theirs, but let's look at it and do it on, not reinvent the wheel.
It's fine, it's pretty standard what's been going around out there, so.
I do have one thing on that probably need a comment and a vote on. I talked to traffic engineering on the alleys, specifically Concord Alley. They felt like at this point in time, trying to add that to the survey, to the traffic survey, because they had no historical records on alleys, would be a moot point. I agree 100%. Now, the one thing that we can do, and they kind of made the commitment that they would agree, is we could shut that alley off and shut it off at High Street, just put no through traffic. Talking to Seamus Scott, he understood that. He thought that was a great idea. Their Broad Alley, which would be right up to his, we would actually need to put some type of sign that said either no outlet or no through traffic or something like that. I think that'll get us through the construction time, and then maybe have to come back and take a look once that road is opened up, what we can do as far as either making it one way or making it or closing it or something. I know the comment has been made that it will possibly make some of the neighbors mad, but I think everyone's in agreement that right now it's just a shortcut is all it is. And all we're doing is moving forward. I'd give Dave directive if it's up to if the council's all right with it. I did tell Seamus point blank, 1/5 of the board, I need the rest of the board to either agree or disagree, and then we'll move ahead. So I guess what we would need to do is grant Dave permission to close that alley for through traffic at this time. Not changing the traffic flow, we're changing the traffic period, stopping it. Yeah, you're kind of thinking. Hurry up and make a motion before he thinks too long.
Motion to approve.
Your wheels are turning. Are you all right?
No, could you did talk to, and you said the traffic engineer would back that recommendation?
Yes.
If you get that from him, then I'm good.
Yep.
I'm not a traffic engineer.
Is that acceptable with the rest of the council?
This is temporary while construction's going on.
While the construction's going on, but also, and when I say that, I think maybe either Seamus or the neighbors will say uncle and say, oh, we gotta go open that back up. But I'm gonna say, while they're doing that west end, it's gotta go on that whole length of time, in my opinion. Once they get the west end of High Street done, then, when traffic can go through there, they're not gonna be taking the shortcuts, then we could possibly do the traffic study at that point in time. Your wheels are turning. What are your thoughts?
No, I mean, that's fine. I mean.
I have a motion from Dustin. Do I have a second?
What I've been saying the whole time. Shut it down.
Dustin, Greg, all in favor? Aye. I have nothing else. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Our next meeting date will be Tuesday, June 1st. You're all welcome.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are done for the evening. Hey, Lance. I took out the CF1 stuff because that's confidential.
That's my bedtime.
Just letting you know.
Curious about the order pizza.
How are you?